Hey guys, before we start this video, make sure you follow us on Twitter. It is Undercover Space Book Nerd as well as Wolfmas. Links in the description below. Let's get it.
Here we go.
What's going on, guys? My name is Jesse and we are back with another freaking video. Today we're going to do Fantastic Beasts with my brother Justin. Justin, say what's up.
What's up, guys?
Alright, man, this is an exciting time. We just saw the movie a couple of days ago, and we're going to kind of just jump right into it and talk about the overall feeling of the movie. For me, it's a 7, maybe like closer to 8 out of 10. Justin, what do you think?
I think it's a high 8, maybe even a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like the movie a lot. I just think that the hype is like maybe contending to people's 9 out of 10s and 10 out of 10s. I don't think it's as good as the last Harry Potter movies, which is people are comparing them.
Oh yeah,
I feel like they're not really comparable, but at the same time, I feel like the last Harry Potter movies are maybe a little bit better.
I agree. I think that it's hard to judge them, and a lot of people are going off the hype of it's a new Harry Potter movie. It's J.K. Rowling. How can you not love it?
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. Alright, and then the rest of the stuff's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's been out for a couple weeks. I mean, you should have seen it already if you haven't seen it. Alright, let's jump into it. I really like the Eddie Redmayne character as Newt Scamander. I liked him a lot. Some of the eye movements kind of bothered me a little bit, but I understand that that's kind of like part of his character. What do you think?
I really like it. I think he played the role really well because it kind of matches Newt Scamander as a character. A lot of people, it was very easy to tell that he felt much more comfortable talking and being around his beasts than he did with people, and that really showed. He was really good about it. Right.
Yeah, no, he's definitely like a antisocial person by design.
He's introverted a lot.
Yeah, introverted. Yeah, that's a good word for it. I also like the Tina character. She's the Aura from Yakuza. I thought at first she was a little introverted as well. I thought at first, like, it seems like maybe she doesn't get along with her coworkers, but at the end I feel like maybe she's a lot less introverted than Newt, and I feel like they make a good pair together, and there's definitely that chemistry for sure.
I didn't really see her as being introverted. I think a lot of it had to do with the backstory behind her losing her position as an Auror. So you can see she was very uncertain about herself. I didn't really call it introverted, though.
Right. And then the reason she lost her position was because she did magic in front of the Salem witch girl because she was trying to save the Esmeralda character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
she... Go ahead. She attacked Mary Lou to protect Credence when Credence was about to be beaten, and that definitely caused a big controversy because they weren't. There was an argument on whether or not Mary Lou should be obliterated.
Obliviated, yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think, and I thought that was going to come into play at the end. We'll get to it when we talk about the Credence stuff. I thought that was going to come into play at the end, but it just didn't come around the way I thought it was going to.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see what they did with Mary Lou happening. I thought that she would go about differently how they did. Let's
talk about it for a second, too, because she's like the most evil person. I mean, she's like Umbridge status, like fucking evil, right?
Yeah. She's one of those people that she's so conceited around the fact that she is correct and what she believes is right, that she's willing to hurt anyone around her, and that's very Umbridge-esque.
Right, yeah, she's super close-minded. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that stuff is just hard to watch, especially the Credence stuff. It's just really hard to watch for me, especially.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is. I think that this was a big step away from the Harry Potter series, showing it's a much darker side of magic, a more adult side of magic.
Yeah, the adult side, yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
But I really liked seeing that side of it. I liked seeing that, while on one side you have all the schools and all the children learning, you have the other side in that not everything as amazing as it seems. Not every wizard gets to grow up being an amazing wizard.
Right, no, exactly. Yeah, I really like the adult stuff too. I also like that everybody already knows magic, and you can kind of take it up another notch, and that's why I liked all the showcase of magic in the film, especially all the spells that we know, and then seeing all the apparating. What do you think about that?
I was really worried about it. I always worry when you see these movies go so many sequels in and then going into prequels that it just becomes watered down. I call it the Dragon Ball Z fallacy in that,
Right.
you see it in one season, and then the next season everyone can do it, and you're just watering down all these amazing abilities.
Right.
But I feel like they did a good job of balancing it. Apparating is not something that was shown as a huge, like a very advanced move, but it was something that was difficult, so you only see the adults being able to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that they chose a good one there to push off of it.
Right. Yeah. And all the apparating, I thought it was fun to see, but some of the apparating confused me, especially when Tina first meets Newt and she apparates out of the alley. Like, why don't they apparate straight into Makusa? Like, I don't understand. Some of the apparating, they just apparate to another place, then walk for a while, and some of that didn't make a lot of sense to me.
I imagine there are guidelines, like you apparate into Makusa, there's some issues. Just like if you remember in the Mystery of Magic, they had the fireplaces. You couldn't just apparate in; you had to use the fireplaces as a means of travel.
Right. Yeah. So like, why didn't they have something similar to that? Right. But we didn't.
I imagine everyone's different, but yeah, there could be something that they do show. Maybe that it's a different timeline. I think that they really branched off and showed that they're trying to be more connected with the Nomad world.
Right. Yeah, well, that was let's talk about that for a second, because we get the Eddie Redmayne line in Makusa that they have some backwards laws in America about Nomads and Muggles, about how they don't connect with them. Very similar to Voldemort's rules about how they're like anti-Muggles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I think that what Newt said is kind of a tale going towards the later movies, in that we are probably going to see Grindelwald or Gellert Grindelwald. Yeah. Try and convince him to come to his side. He has Dumbledore that sees a lot of promise in Newt, and then you see it as well at the end with Gellert, in that he does see some promise in him, and he wants to dine with him later. He wants to meet him later and try and convince him to come to his side. Right,
and we get that line at the end with Colin Farrell's character, who turns out to be Grindelwald, where he says that, who does this law protect, right? And it makes you really question it for a second, but then you realize, this is the anti-hero making a play for Makusa, right?
Yeah, but I really think that line, what he's saying, I feel like it'll create a lot of spark in the wizarding community in North America because of their views. They were all about completely separating from the Nomad world, whereas in the Harry Potter universe, they were more connected. They wanted to learn about them and try to integrate them slowly.
Right. Like, I would assume that Ilvermorny does not have a Muggle Studies class like Hogwarts has a Muggle Study class, right? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Let's just get on to the main plot here, especially the Fantastic Beasts elements. I really enjoyed going into the case and seeing the big world he has inside the little case. I thought that was a big showpiece of the movie, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it takes me back to Goblet of Fire. Yeah. When they have the tent. The tent opens up, and it just felt very good homage to what the Wizarding universe has to offer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was obviously a showpiece, and I don't have a problem with that, so they can show us all the creatures. And the only thing I would say that's a little bit hand-holdy is when they bring Jacob into the case as well, when it's basically just an expositional source, so they can show all the creatures and have a reason to explain what all the creatures do. And you need that, but it was a little
yeah, they kind of like force-fed you the Obscurus and the Thunderbird. Yeah. Both becoming major parts later in the movie. And the only reason you'd know about them is if Jacob came in and Newt had to talk about them.
Yeah, exactly. And Jacob, man, why would you leave that when you got Queenie right there giving you the eye? Like, nah, man, I'm staying. Yeah, no, I ain't leaving for sure. Not a chance.
I mean, I really like the whole Jacob-Queenie connection they had. I think that it was really good. So it just brought a much warmer tone to the movie that had very dark tones throughout it.
Yeah, I super agree with that. Especially since we get the mind reader.
The Legilimens?
Yeah, we get a mind reader POV, and I thought that was interesting, especially with her having a hard time reading Newt's mind because he has an accent. I was like, well, that's a weird excuse, but I'm okay with it.
I'm willing to bet there's a more philosophical term for it, and she just is very calm and very normal about her speaking.
like the Jacob Queenie relationship as well. I definitely want to talk about the Credence subplot, or for me, it's the main plot. I know that you think it's maybe the B plot, but I just think that the Fantastic Beast is there just so we can get to the Credence plot. What do you think?
I think that Fantastic Beasts isn't really the plot. I think that more often than not, Fantastic Beasts is the plot of the overall series, and that it's all about Newt going through this adventure, making the book. And that the plot of this individual movie is Credence, and the whole story of the nomads going against the wizarding world, and
Right.
Mary Lou wanting to get in, and Graves, aka Gellert Grindelwald, wanting to use Credence to find the Obscurus. I think that was the basis of the movie, but it's all wrapped into one series
Right.
of Fantastic Beasts.
Right, and that's an interesting point too, because going into the next, is they say that they're going to do 5 movies, okay? And I don't see how they can make 5 movies with Newt Scamander as the lead, because it feels like they're going to lead to this Dumbledore versus Grindelwald duel that we all want to see, right? And I think that it's going to maybe spring off after the next movie, and maybe still have Newt Scamander in the movie, but maybe he's not our POV.
That's definitely a great idea. I don't see how they can continue with Newt going into the next movie.
Right.
It has to be somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, because like we get to the end of this movie and we get to the wrap it up scene where he's getting on the boat with Tina, and he's gonna send her a copy of the book. Like, this movie's over. He's already written the book, right? Or he's gonna write the book. He's almost done.
Well, he's gotten everything he needs. He's gonna
Right.
turn in
And
all his documents.
he hands her a rough copy of the book when he goes to save Credence. Yeah. So I don't think they're gonna stick with Newt Scamander, which is a bummer because I know everybody loves Redmayne.
I think he'll come back. I think he'll definitely be parts of the later films, if not this next one.
Right.
Maybe, sequel number 4, sequel number 5. He's gonna be in that final fight. They set it up so perfectly.
Yeah, they set it up with Dumbledore being supportive of Newt, so maybe they come together.
hmm
Yeah,
And I don't know if you heard about this, but they're saying the 5th movie will be dated in 1945,
right.
which
is
for Harry Potter followers, yes, it's the Grindelwald-Dumbledore fight.
Right, which is super exciting. I really want to see that. Because we get a taste of a really big duel in Order of the Phoenix when we get the Dumbledore versus Voldemort duel, and that was like a cinematic gold right there. That was incredible, so I can't wait to see what they do with this Grindelwald fight.
And another thing to note is that Grindelwald is supposed to have the Elder Wand.
Right, I didn't see it.
He didn't have it yet, so I'm wondering if maybe in the future films, maybe 3 or 2 or 3 is through Gellert Grindelwald's
Right,
persona and
yeah.
going and getting the Elder Wand.
Right, and we all should have known. And maybe some of the real adept viewers saw when he gave the Deathly Hallows necklace to Credence. We all should have went, that's Grindelwald, because he is the original seeker of the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
He's the one who tells Dumbledore about the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
Right, we definitely should have known about that immediately, but I missed it.
This excites me. I think this is a great opening movie, and a lot of people are going to argue that this is a lot like Warcraft in that it is very hard to make an opening movie for a series and put all these storylines. I think it was able to hold its own as an individual movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk about the pacing for a second, because I think the pacing is good in some spots and poor in other spots. Like, let's talk about the reveal of Grindelwald of Colin Farrell's character. When we get to the battle of Credence being the Obscurial and Eddie Redmayne's there and the whole Ministry of Magic, or Makusa, is there, and we get to the end and we get the revealio of Grindelwald, I feel like that is very rushed. What do you think?
It is, because, there's no tale. Like, we as viewers, we can tell, obviously, that something isn't right with Graves. He has to be Grindelwald.
Right.
But, what makes them question that Graves isn't this actual person? There's no questioning of it. When you think back of Goblet of Fire, they questioned whether or not that was actually Mad-Eye Moody.
Right.
With this, they don't question at all. They just immediately use it to see if it's him. And
Right.
I don't agree with that. I think it was very rushed.
Well, yeah, I think it's rushed too, but I mean, you do get the line, and that's like a straight Grindelwald point of view. So, and I could kind of go with that there, and especially being Eddie Redmayne's introverted personality, maybe he reads people a little better than most people.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. And I also,
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, what makes me think about it as well is that in the interrogation scene, Newt automatically knows what Graves is talking about. He automatically knows that Graves is questioning whether or not he is a Grindelwald supporter. He knows exactly what Graves is trying to go for. So I think that could also be a key thing, and it comes from being that European background, where Grindelwald is much more feared and known in Europe, whereas in North America, he's just only known about.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I definitely want to talk about Credence a little bit here because I thought Ezra Miller's performance was very good.
I think he played the role perfectly, and it's such a step out from his previous films. If you look at what he's done.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the twist with the little girl, I thought that was very well. I mean, I was wondering what was going to happen, especially when we get the scene of Ezra Miller crawling underneath the bed and finding the wand. Like, what was that about? That left a very loose end for me that I just really want to know about.
I didn't get it at all. Like, they broke the wand. The wand is supposed to be, I believe her name was, someone started the name. It's like Melody. It's not Melody. It's God, dude. It means. Give me a second.
Yeah. It's
Modesty.
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 Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Just for a quick second, when she says, "Oh, modesty," when she says it's mine, I thought like she was saying that she was being modest. Like I was like, wait, okay, that's her name. Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, Mary Lou named them after different forms, but
right, Credence is another weird name.
But with Modesty, I totally thought that Modesty was the Obscurus. They had me hooked on it. Everything made sense. She watched Henry Shaw down talk. Well, I take it back. I think that Henry Shaw is the only one that maybe could have given it away that it was actually Credence. Because you think about it, Henry Shaw whispered into Credence's ear that he was a. There's no way Modesty heard that. Modesty only saw him whisper.
Right, but you do get that one shot of Modesty giving him like that really dirty look, so maybe it gives you a decent setup. Yeah,
it does, and they threw me for a loop for that. I definitely didn't in the moment think it was Credence.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I also think that the scene where she loses the belt out of her hand, I think that was Modesty, and here's my theory on why I think it's Modesty. I think that Ezra Miller Credence can't control his magic unless he is the Obscurus, and he wasn't.
And you see him on the floor.
Yet.
Yeah, you see him on the floor freaking out.
Right, so I think that maybe it was Modesty taking the belt out of her hand and then making the belt run away. And then Credence turns into the Obscurus, and that's a really good twist because you get to see him crying in the corner, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, and then Colin Farrell's character calls him a dirty squib,
And Modesty lived too. We don't see her at the end, so she lives. She's without a wand. She has to be still suppressing her powers because of all that talk from Mary Lou telling her about the witches, like that song, like creepy song she keeps singing. She has to be Obscurus in the future.
Yeah, I thought that was a good setup for sure. Let's talk about the Obscurial and how we get the story of Eddie Redmayne trying to save a African girl who is an Obscurial as well.
I think that this sets up something for the future in that no one has tried to control them before besides Grindelwald, and this is the first one ever captured. This ties something very important and very big to Grindelwald and Newt Scamander that I think will come up in the later movies in that 4 and 5 time frame for Dumbledore to come back. This is something that no one has ever dealt with, and you don't hear about it in the future.
Right.
So it's something that can't have been made public. It has to be something underground in this fight. And I'm excited to see what they do with it.
I also heard a theory about why isn't Harry Potter an Obscurial, and I thought that was a fucking joke. Whoever came up with that theory is ridiculous because he doesn't suppress his magic. He uses it, and he doesn't know about it. It's different. Like, they are actively suppressed. Like, Credence actively suppressing his magic because he is in a anti-magic family. This is straight, like, we're gonna kill you if you use your magic, right?
And they talked about it with the African girl as well. She was enslaved for her use of magic. So she was forced to suppress it.
Right, yeah. I don't think that that's a loose end. I think some people are trying to make it into a loose end, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I think that's just a step too far. You're trying to connect all these red dots, and it's not going to work that way.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the ending of the movie was a little slow. That kind of gets back into the pacing issues. The end of the movie kind of drags on just a little bit. I mean, I want to see the Eddie Redmayne Tina character because I like them and I think they have some good chemistry. But I just felt like that was a little slow, a little Return of the King-esque.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I feel like they really felt the need to tie up all the loose ends and all of this romance and all of the heartfelt things because of how dark the movie was.
Right.
But it didn't feel as warm and as good with how fast they rushed the Grindelwald review.
Yeah.
If they had made that equally as slow, then yes, I would have loved it. I would have loved that tie-up because then I would have had every loose end covered. Yeah. Especially with the fact that we're not going to follow Newt, it looks like, going into the second movie.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel that way. All right, well, I think we've kind of covered everything else. You have anything else you want to talk about?
I really think that going forward, we have to learn about these other countries. We have to learn about what is going on. Like, if you go into that big Makusa meeting when Tina first brings Newt in with the box, there's like 20, 30 people here that are all leaders of their magical
different countries,
And I think that that's going to lead up, because there is a war coming. There's the World War II is going to come, and they have to do the magical side of it.
Right.
I want to know where all these magical powers are coming from. I want to know, who is strongest here, who's going to be, who's coming out on top. Because you don't hear about them in the Harry Potter series. You don't hear about the three schools.
Yeah, and there's some great articles on Pottermore. If you guys haven't seen those, you definitely should go give them a read. There's a great one on the Native Americans and how they don't use wands. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So you should definitely check some of those out. I definitely want to see those POVs as well.
And that brings up another thing, is just how strong is Grindelwald. Because you hear about it in the original Harry Potter series that without using a wand, it's very difficult to use magic. But it is possible.
Right.
So I'm really interested, because he does have moments where he's not using that wand. Like when the suitcase pulls scene.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty mind-blowing for me, especially when he pulls the suitcase. You feel like maybe he's the strongest in the room for sure, and then you get the Grindelwald reveal at the end. You're okay, wait, he definitely was the strongest in the room for sure.
And that also makes me think back to how strong Newt is, because if you think about it, Newt is not that powerful of a wizard. What his speciality is with these beasts, and I want to see him struggle with magic. I want to see him actually be out-dueled and have to rely on his use of beasts, like he did with the Grindelwald fight, using the beast to stop him and not a spell.
Right.
Or like when he's helping the rhino go after Jacob. When the monkey grabs his wand, he's useless. Yeah. I want to see more of that. I want to see some fragility, if that makes any sense. I want to see how weak he can be and still muster through it.
Well, that's an interesting question too, because he got expelled from Hogwarts. The question is, like, what year did he get expelled? It was obviously past year 6, right? Because he can apparate. So you're like, well, I wonder when he got expelled from Hogwarts. And if that
that's not necessarily true, because from what I've read up on, apparition isn't really like, it's a lot similar to a driving test, where you can't do it unless you've passed the test, but you can do the test once you pass a certain age.
Right.
At least that's what I've learned from reading up on it. So I don't think it was later in, but I want to know more about him and more about Leda. I want to find out what happened.
Yeah, same. Yeah, Leda Lestrange is definitely... And J.K. Rowling actually put out a post on Twitter saying that Leda Lestrange is going to be in the next movie.
Which excites me, and it makes me really want to go back and watch Order of the Phoenix, and I want to go look at that tree. I want to pause the scene when they go to the wall with the tree on it, and I want to find her. I want to see if they went that far into the past and had Leda Lestrange.
It's possible.
Maybe like her name blacked out because she's helping me, or maybe her name's still there because she's proud. Something. I want to see her.
Maybe. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for us today, guys. Justin, why don't you go ahead and tell them, have a good one, leave a like, all that stuff.
Guys, if you really like these videos, Jesse does them a lot. Undercover Book Nerds, great channel. Please subscribe and watch for more of them, and we'll try and do more of these dual reviews as better movies come out.
Awesome. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the flip side. Later.